Hi, I'm Joanna Ruth, and I'm about to explain to you what happens when you get a head cold and you're in the middle of a really long fast.
The Fasting Diaries of Joanna Ruth. Number 9. The Fasting Blues. What you gonna do?
Hello, everybody. I'm just in the middle of checking my ketones, so I thought I'd show you because not everybody has done this before. I have a Freestyle Optimum Neo, which is what I could get in Australia off Amazon. And all I do is I have the clicker, which has the little needle in it, and I pull it back. You hear it click. See, you pull it back, and then you click it. So it's got a little button here where my thumb is. Yeah. And then I have little strips. So they're flat little things, and you just tear it open, like so. And you put the little barcode part up the little thing of the thing, and it kind of just turns itself on, and it flashes like a little drip, like a water drip, but it means blood. I'm still using the same finger, so I just feel around on my thumb where it doesn't hurt from the last click. Press the button and then give a little squeeze. You only need that much, and you kind of get used to it. And then I just I got to make sure you can see it and I can see it, and put it there until the blood works its way up the strip to the top of the little funnel there. And you can see on the monitor it is counting down, and it says today 4.4. And so I'm going to screen share for you my fasting diary so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put in 4.4. This is how I do my diary. And then I'll write a little note afterwards. As if you can read really fast, you'll see that I wrote this morning, I'm back to my normal pace. You can hear my voice is not as good. I'll tell you why in a second. And if you like a little bit of comedy, my dog rolled in poop on the last lap because it's an off-leash park. So he was off doing something and took a little while. I'm calling him and calling him. And then he came back with poop all over his collar. And I was disgusted. He knew about it. And straight into the bath. He's in the naughty corner. He was in the naughty corner for about 45 minutes, and he understands. He understands. So because this morning I was at 3.6 and then 3.6, and now I'm 4.4. I'm just going to make that bold so that I can see it. This is what I do. Just so that I can see it, and then I change the color so that I can see it. And now, because it's higher than the ones in the morning, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put the 4.4 in here. And if it goes higher than that later, that's fine too. I don't mind. So do you want to have a look at my numbers? So, and then with the ketone monitor, hang on, I'll just stop the share so you can see what I'm doing. I don't even turn it off. I just pull a little thingy out, put it in the rubbish pile, and I just put it to the side, and it, in about 30 seconds or so, it'll just flash and turn itself off. So while we're here, let's have a looky at the numbers, because I know you love the numbers. I like the numbers too. So here we are. We are March 10th. Yes, it is March 10th. So this is the 15th day of fasting, and I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more days before I am highly visible to a lot of people who haven't seen me in a long time. And I'll tell you now that I'm now down at 13.15, and in another 6 days, I'm likely to be down at, I don't know, 111. Let's just guess 111, which will be not 111. That's wrong. 103. This is what happens when you do it in the morning, like when you first wake up. I get out of bed, I go to the bathroom, then I come back into my bedroom and I slide the scales out from under the bedside table. I whip my nightie off and I stand on the scales, and then I put my nightie back on, and it's still dark, and I trudge over to the computer and I sit down, I turn it on, and all the time I'm saying the number in my head so that I don't forget. And so I must have typed 113, but that's not, it's not what um, so 103, 115. This is what I do. You see my calculator now. So I go 118 minus 1. Oops, start again. Can you tell I'm really good with numbers? 118 minus 103.15 equals 14.85 loss, which is great. I thought it would happen faster, but I'm quite okay with that. The speed is irrelevant because the result is inevitable. That's just how it goes when you change your story. I was thinking about it today. Before I changed my story, no matter what I did, and I've done a lot of things. No matter what I did, I couldn't get my body to do anything other than what it was doing. Somewhere between 110 if I struggled with it, and 120 if I just let it go, not worry. And even on carnivore, the results were, it was harder to get fatter on carnivore, but my nervous system still managed to make it happen. My thoughts still managed to decide me in a direction that was heavier. Then overnight, I changed the story, and overnight, my whole entire attitude, perspective, decision making, everything just changed. Not once have I had to deal with willpower problems because I'm not actually using willpower. And I am going to create a video talking about the difference between willpower and the strength, the staying power, that comes from your story. And truly that is the reason why you can't overall, the end game, you can't override the strength of your story because it's 24/7, and you don't have willpower 24/7. You only have willpower when you're awake and you're focusing and you've got energy and you're not distracted. And boy, will your story give you some distractions to deal with. So for me, because I've got a really good, powerful brain, the power of story is even stronger. The power, the strength, the staying power of story is even stronger when you have a really good mind, a good brain, good analytical brain. So that's to come. I don't want to go into it too much now, but yes, this is you're looking at a person who couldn't make it. I couldn't make it under 110 for the life of me. Like the pushing and the concentrating and the analysis, it was just beyond reasonable, really. And I made it down to 111 before this long fast. So I made the gains that I used to make by pushing, like, single-handedly pushing a car by, from stationary because you've got a flat tire or something and you're in the middle of the road. that's how hard it was to push against my story. Life is meant to be hard. Life is meant to be full of pressure, and you have to look after everybody else. You have to do all their thinking for them and all their problem solving for them before you. That's a big distraction. So then I started the long fast, which started on the 24th of February, and now here we are, the 10th of March. So that is 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I haven't broken a fast for 3 weeks. That's miraculous. I have done a 15-day fast thus far. And what's even more miraculous is that I am just coming through the other end of a head cold. And I learned quite a few things about fasting and being unwell in this time. And so I want to explain that to you. So I got a head cold on Friday. I had the day off on Friday. I gave myself the day off on Friday, and I did a lot of things on Friday. So I had a dental appointment on Friday, which it was just a review. He just poked a little, I said ow a few times, and that was it. We talked about the next procedure, everything going well with the last one, and what we're going to do for the next one. So that was fine. It was nice to see my dentist, lovely guy. Then, I think I did some errands before that actually, and my dog didn't know what I was doing because it was coming and going, and he wanted to come and go with me, but he wasn't allowed. And after that, I think I did something on the computer in between the dentist, and then I went swimming. It was a really nice day in Melbourne. So we've got this resurgence of really nice weather at the moment. It was getting really cold, and now it's sort of warmed up. We've got some warm weather. So I went to swim my usual kilometre in the pool, and I go to a pool that's right next to the bay, which is really convenient on a nice day. So I grabbed my gear after I finished the kilometre. I gave a big swig of salted water that I bring with me, just in case. I'd rather have a salt flush than have dizziness, especially when I'm outside. And I went swimming in the salt water and sunning myself, and I lay down on the grass, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Anyway, got home and my nose started running and running and running and running, didn't want to stop running. So by the time it was time to go to bed, I was very, very clogged and I didn't sleep very well. And I woke up on the Saturday and I had a low grade temperature. I had a sort of blocked nose, half blocked nose, and I just felt really, really lethargic. And I'm thinking, oh boy, what am I going to do? Does this mean I should eat? Let's look at it. Now, in the past, like I've said before, any signal meant eating. But now that my story isn't in existence anymore, I could really look at it kind of rationally. And I thought, okay, well, I need to keep my electrolytes up. And perhaps, and now the secret is, this has happened to me before when I go really, really hard and I'm on the changeover of my cycles, my body's really busy doing cleaning, I can get myself the sniffles and a bit run down. So I knew that from my past. I did go really hard on Friday. I had a great time using all my available ketone energy, and I must have picked something up, like you only pick things up if you're a little weakened. And, I was a little in a weakened state. I should have been more restful, but I've got too much energy to be restful. And I had the day off and it was a beautiful day. So there I was thinking about, okay, so a little rundown, maybe not because of fasting, but just in case, I have some bone broth powder in the cupboard. So it has very small amount of fat in it and not a high amount of protein, but it does have some essential nutrients that maybe after 2 weeks or 3 weeks of fasting, I might get a little low. B vitamins do present themselves in animal foods and I'm not eating any of them and they are water soluble. So maybe I'm out a little bit. Okay. So I did two things. I had some bone broth powder in some hot water with salt. So it's really just an addition of a powdered supplement. So I used the bone broth powder as a supplement instead of breaking the fast. I also remembered that I had in the cupboard Active D, which is vitamin D, but vitamin D comes in two different forms, and not in every country can you get Active D. And I'm really lucky that in Australia you can't get it mainstream, but you can order it on eBay. So if you're Australian and you want to have some in the cupboard, do your research about what it's for. There is some research out there on YouTube. Essentially, what I know about it is that you can have very high vitamin D levels in your body, which is good to have high vitamin D in your body because then it's there as a resource for your body to convert it into active D to then use it for what it needs to use it as. Now, the body it needs the cofactors in your diet and resources from your body to translate it from the inactive form to the active form, and it does it as a needs basis. So it doesn't store active D. It makes its little amount that the body needs for doing what it's doing at the time. Now, if you get sick, that's because the active D has been used up fighting the infections. And so my slightly runny nose that I had for a couple of days before was actually a sign that my body was fighting something and then it ran out of resources. I didn't think about this until way after, but it ran out of resources. And so then I didn't have what I needed to keep fighting it. And then I woke up on Saturday and I was depleted. So I took a big dose, kind of like the dose that they would give you in parts of Europe that they use this as a therapy. Um, yeah, like a big dose, like the maximum that you should have in a day, that your body would produce in a day. So I basically had the dose that would fill up my stores. And that kind of worked. It didn't work instantly, but overnight it's worked. So I did have a low grade fever and I thought to myself, if I refeed now, not only do I break my fast earlier than what I want to, but I will if I just, logically come to a decision that I will. Because I've said if there's something wrong with my body and I need to go back to eating, I will go back to eating, sort it out, and then come back into fasting. But I didn't really want to. My new story is saying, no, just figure it out. Just figure it out, keep fasting. And I do know that one needs to feed a cold. So you need to have resources to give your body if your body is low on resources. So feed a cold and starve a fever. So I had a fever and I kept having to take one Nurofen or one Panadol. Panadol is paracetamol. Nurofen isn't, what's it called? Ibuprofen. Yeah, so I'm talking brand names and they're the original names. So just to feel a little bit more normal here and there and to go to sleep. But I'd only ever take one. And then I take the alternate ones so that I'm not doubling up. Because I really don't like them. I don't like them, but they have their purpose, don't they? And so I decided I'm going to starve the fever. And last night I made the decision that if I'm still feeling blur, like dragging myself around the park and doing a very, very small amount of movement through the day, if I'm still doing that for the third day in a row, then I'll refeed. I said a little prayer, please make me better. And I woke up in the morning and we're all good. The fever has broken and I have my energy back. Probably too much for the rest that my body needs to do to clear everything out. But And I proved that this morning. I had a little high blood pressure incident where I had to lay down on the kitchen floor because I went too hard, walked home really fast with my dog because I was really disgusted by the poop. And then I put him in the bath and I scrubbed and scrubbed and yeah, it was all too much for my body. So I lay down on the kitchen floor until I feel better. Then I got up and everything's fine. Been there, done that with my vaccine illness, injury, etc. With the high blood pressure. I know how to deal with it. I know what it all feels like in my body. So yes, this is why I sound croaky because I woke up this morning with the fever gone. My sinuses all cleared up, which is fantastic. So I can breathe really well, but it's made me not a singer today. Not a singer today. So, but I don't feel completely unwell now, which is great. So I was very, very happy to realize that my body was still working very, very hard because I was at 105 when I got sick, which was Friday, the 7th was for me. And And now Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'm coming out of all that agony for my body and I'm 103. So I lost 2 kilograms from resting and fasting and resting. So and also part of that was finishing up my cycle changeover, which does cause inflammation, and that's why for the few days beforehand, I didn't have any great losses. In fact, I think one day I went up a little bit. So just for 3 days before that, it just stagnated. I was still using up energy, of course, and then I got the cold, the head cold, and that's when my body just went, oh, let it all out, and I lost the 2 kilos, which kind of made up for the 3 days before that where I didn't lose anything. So that's my take on having a head cold. Don't generalize it to any other problem. It's just a head cold. If I got the flu, I was completely aching. My body wasn't doing very well. But also remember, I'm checking my ketones, and I did check my ketones a lot while I was sick. My ketones jumped way up while I was sick. So today the highest is 4.4, but the last 3 days we had 5.6, 5.9, and 5. And the day before that 6. So while I've had my cycle change and then had my little head cold, my ketones have risen up to meet the demand of my body. So whatever proteins my body has needed, I can feel in a lot of my lipidemic areas a little tenderness. So there has been some movement going on while I've been resting and sleeping. And without question, there is fat being used for fuel because there's tons of ketones running around in my body. So I was assured that other than perhaps the micronutrients that I got from the bone broth, I was not lacking anything. And the active D, I'm sure, helped as well because that helped me get over the fever and the bacteria, etc. So please don't generalize this to every thing that will happen while you're doing an extended fast because life goes on and you have a lot of energy and you're going to live your life. You're going to enjoy your life because you're becoming lighter and stronger and you've got tons of energy. So yes, you're going to get out there and you're going to enjoy your life and you're going to come across lurgies, and you might injure yourself. You might do all sorts of things. You're learning how to be in a different body with a different state and different energy. So give yourself a bit of leeway. Like today is a Monday and I usually swim on a Monday, but I'm not going to because I'm going to let my body rest and get through whatever it needs to get through. And I may not even swim on Wednesday because I just have to wait and see whether I want my body to have that extra stress on top of it. It is already dealing with enough. So I just wanted to come on and give you an update about how it's going and what I've been doing and what's been happening to me. I can't say that I enjoyed being unwell. I didn't. But then I every time I thought about maybe if I ate, I'd feel better, I'd get a hard no. No, you won't. You won't feel better. You're just going to have to refeed. And refeeding was going to take some energy, and you already don't have it. You don't feel like you have enough energy. So why would you do that? So I didn't because I couldn't answer that question. Um, so yeah, things are going to happen when you're taking on fasting. And if you have your old story, if I had my old, well, first of all, if I had my old story, I wouldn't be able to fast more than intermittently for a week before my body would, my brain would use my nervous system to affect my body to create agitation. And I mean, I injured myself last time I did it. I sliced into my thumb and had to go to the hospital because of the heightened adrenaline. I behaved poorly. So I really don't recommend fasting if it's creating agitation. Agitation is not going to help you with any improvement in your physiology. Um, but if you have enough story change to allow fasting and but not complete story change, if you still have a few fibs in the stories, then you may find that the instance of having a head cold, which my body has coped with. Um, like I said, if the third day I'm not coping with it, I'm going to go refeed, make sure I've got all the nutrients that I need to be able to get through it. And said a little prayer, and it came true. I'm much better this morning. I can tell by my behavior, my attitude, and my thought process. I'm much better. And but yeah, you have to be in charge, and you have to have agency in your decision making about your body and your life. And the most important thing is that you have great clarity and great logic, available logic, and you don't have a story telling you that it's worse than it is, or it's not as bad as it is. So this is really, really pivotal because we all run around in life with stories, and we really do. We start creating stories like when we're kids and when we're born, we're given lots of stories and then we create more stories. And if we didn't have any stories, we wouldn't be able to function as human beings. So the way that I see it is you're a soul with a whole lot of stories. And the stories are what you base your decisions on, base your life priorities and all of that. How you do what you do is all based on the stories that you have. Some of those stories are no longer in today's truth, and so, but you're living today, and you have stories of old-fashioned stories, stories that you made different times in your life when you needed those stories, and they were true then, but times have changed, you see. So, I really, really want to urge you to understand that looking into your stories is it's not a fantasy. It's not, oh, I'll do that later. Because later is going to be when you've given yourself a ridiculous illness because you couldn't see life for exactly what it is right now because you're living through a story of old. And I don't want that for anyone. I don't want, because it's so possible. It's just so, when you understand something, it's silly not to do it. From my perspective, it's just really silly to not do it. And I didn't truly understand the impact of our stories until I changed this one. Because now I'm seeing it in my behavior, my attitude, my weight on the scales going down, my lipedema tissue reducing. My. See, there's no cure for lipedema except I'm reducing it. Because there is. But you have to change your stories, otherwise you can't implement the solution. I truly believe you won't be able to implement the solution, non-surgical, dietary-driven solution, unless you have clean, true, today's truth stories. Okay, that's enough ranting from me. Okay, so yes, I am Joanna Ruth and I run this way, Low to Zero Carb. We have a free to the public Facebook group. We have a members group if you need more attention. And of course, there's private sessions if you really desire that. And of course, please like and subscribe to this channel and share it, because you cannot be the judge of what another person needs to hear. Even if you judge it well or poorly, you still can't be the judge of what someone else needs to hear because you're not in their head. So it's lovely to connect with you again. I will see you again soon. Be well. Think about your stories. Bye.
Here's a playlist for the entire series. Please like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. See you in the next video.